Mark Radcliffe, who's going to talk to us about releasing NFTs and 5 legal problems.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to be talking about the basic legal issues you should be thinking about. And just to follow on from the previous speaker, she is absolutely correct that it's critical for people to basically have a license agreement attached and make sure that that license agreement, it reflects what your business model is. And if anybody wants an example of, how important that is, take a look at Bored Ape Yacht Club versus CryptoPunks and how CryptoPunks changed, when Bored Ape Yacht Club took over the IP and clarified what rights people would have in CryptoPunks. So, licenses do matter, and that's the way you're going to implement, your business model. And if you don't pay attention to it, then you're going to have problems, because I think people are going to become more sophisticated about what rights they're getting, and you just need to understand that. And for people who want copies of the slides, they have been uploaded, so they are available. And if you want a copy directly from me, just send me an email or connect on LinkedIn. So what I want to do is talk a little bit about how complex the NFT infrastructure is from a legal point of view. And I've decided to use the platypus because platypus are hybrids. So if you take a look at a platypus, they're an egg-laying mammal. They are an egg-laying mammal. They have a duck bill. They have beaver-tailed. They have otter feet and a poison spur, my favorite. And the poison spur, I put that across some securities law, because if you end up creating an NFT project, which is a security, then you've poisoned the whole environment. And you'll be spending lots of time with lawyers, because when the SEC comes after you, you want to make sure that you have the right lawyers. So the other legal issues, some of which have been discussed before, are copyright, trademark, Article 2. I mentioned Article 2 in the prior discussion. This is something that people don't think about, but really it's very, very important, because Article 2 has what are called default provisions. So if you do not properly disclaim the warranties or some of the remedies, you could be liable for what's called consequential damages, which are lost profits. So you sell somebody something, it goes up in value, there's a problem with the smart contract or a problem with the IP. If you have not limited it, you could be, you could sell it for $1,000, and you could be liable for $1 million if that's what the lost profits are. So this is really important stuff from the point of view of your personal liability. NFT strategies, as I said earlier, will drive the legal issues. What are you trying to do? And this is just a list of some of the things you need to think about. So the copyright law is something I think people have covered. I'm not going to go into detail. You can read it yourself. But I do think people need to be thinking about, as I said, Article 2 doesn't get talked about very much, and also securities law. One of the earlier panels made an excellent point about the fact is, how do you make sure that these rights follow along with the NFT? Because if it's just, a set of terms on, the website, that may, the subsequent buyer may not see those terms. So, there are some fixes for that, but it's something you need to think about. So here's some example of mistakes. We've talked about the Spice DAO, where they bought the Jodorowsky script Bible and thought they were going to be making movies about Dune. There's been a little bit of historical rewriting there, where now they're saying, no, we never thought we were going to do that, except for the fact, of course, that they spent $3 million for the script book, and it was estimated to be worth $40,000 by Christie's. So somewhere, I don't think they paid that premium if they didn't think they were getting some rights. And then reasonable doubt, fight between partners over the right to make an NFT, an album cover. In this case, the Damon Dash was trying to make a NFT of the album cover. of reasonable doubt, but it was owned by a corporation. He was a one-third owner, but he didn't control the corporation, so he didn't have the right to do it. Once again, critical, what's your business strategy, and understand you're going to be experimenting with business strategy, you're going to be experimenting with chains, so you've just got to be open to that. IP rights are critical. You really need to understand what you have, particularly in the entertainment field. That can be very complex. But we've seen this happen before, as I mentioned earlier, in the shift from film to television, then television to video, and video cassette or DVDs, and then from DVDs to streaming. So these issues are ones that lawyers have seen before. And then lastly, monitor the IP, your platforms for IP infringement, both because people don't really understand IP sometimes, and because there are people that just don't care and are just trying to make a quick buck. So that's the brief overview. If you have any questions, I'll be outside, be happy to answer them. Or do we have any, I don't know if I've got additional time. Do we have time for questions? Oh, I'm out of time. One question.
One question.
Okay, one question. God, I did such a great job. People have no questions. That's wonderful. So you're all experts. Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mark.